Hello, Cendrine, and thank you for being on the True Essence podcast. Thank you for being open for this. And welcome to all the beautiful souls who are listening to this today. We have a very, very special soul today. You, as a multidimensional being, you are many, many things. But out of that, you are one thing, and this is an ascension master or mentor. Would you like to share with us a little bit more about what you do in your work?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Jenny, for having me on your podcast. I'm so happy. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, so I work as an Ascension Mentor, spiritual teacher and channel. And I help people remember the truth of their sovereign multidimensionality. So each and every one of us, we are a unique fractal of God consciousness. And therefore, we are a unique expression of the divine. But we do not only exist in this reality, we exist in a multitude of realities at once on planet Earth and also in other star system, experiencing different expression of forms. Like we could be a Palladian, we could be a dragon, we could be a unicorn. And this multidimensionality is here to be remembered because it allows us to rediscover our power, and we are powerful beyond measure. So it is our ability to create realities, to create worlds, and to do that from the heart center as being of the light, who choose love as a guiding force. So I help people remember that and rediscover that. We teach a body of work which is called the fractal dynamic system, and it's all about alchemization. So we work with alchemical transmutation, so we can shift very fast. So we move away from the outdated paradigm of endless healing for very little results into accelerated spiritual evolution, which is actually our natural, it is our nature, it is what we do naturally. And so we can shift very fast and experience so much abundance, joy, love, freedom, and connection on this planet. And I'm here to remind people to do that, to live like that. So like our teachings, it's like very geeky, very out there, very galactic, very empowering, but at the same time, it's deeply grounding. It's all about embodiment. It's about how we live our life every day and about finding pleasure. So it's not either the outdated paradigm where if we want to find enlightenment, we need to become a monk or a nun and do nothing, pretty much, that humanity has to offer. And we are here to say there's a different path, ascension path into fifth dimension, and both can be enjoyable and fun.
Wow. Thank you for sharing this. So we have to dive a little bit deeper into your spiritual journey and how you became what you are, with knowing that you're still evolving in your spiritual process, and we're all still evolving. But the first question I always ask is, when did you hear it first? The calling of your soul, the calling of your heart. When was your inner being saying, I want more?
Yes, yes, of course. For me, it started when I was very, very young because as a child, I was already in conversation with non-physical beings. And the question I was asking myself as a child were questions like the purpose of life on this planet, how can human be happy in a world that is plagued by war? I was very little. I remember having very deep conversations with my mom on how is it actually possible to love all of humanity? How is it even possible to find peace? So like for me, from a young age, I've been questioning how to actually activate a golden age in such a broken world. And I went down many wormholes and I really cut all of my spiritual abilities as much as I could because it was really too much, too intense, and I did not know what to do with it. And also I was very yes, like growing up, yeah, like as a teen, a young adult, I was more like a rebel. I hated life. It was like I still had lots of good parties, and like I'm very extreme. Like it was always all or nothing. It was a bit like, who cares about humanity anyway? We're all doomed. Then just like you basically, like, you cannot say no to your highest calling if you came here to be be the highest embodiment that you came here to be. Because growing up, I could see myself, I had visions that were presented to me of me sitting in front of like thousands of people and doing all sorts of these weird things. And I had no idea what it was going to be. But since trance channeling, I know that it's that. So now I can feel like more and more people are present in my community, in my vortex, and I can see it's going to happen. I know what it is. But I've had this information that I was here for this purpose from a young age, but I did not want it. So it was more about when did I say yes to that. And that came later. It came later, especially after having my kids and being, separating from my ex-husband. All of that is like, okay, so now let's all about the purpose, bring it on. And I've been doing it for over 15 years now, all in.
Wow. So this was the time when you separated from your husband, when you were like, now you can tell me anything, and you can share it with me, all the information, so I can share it with the world. And
yes, it was like there were different pivotal times. Yes, so I've always wanted to reopen my channeling abilities, but I was not necessarily doing the work that I needed to be doing either. But it was back a lot because I worked as a massage therapist and I was in kind of like half trance state, and because I was so like touching the client, so present in their field, I had all of these visions about their past lives, connection with story, like all of this, like I could see other beings working on the body, and I was never really sure what was going on. But after a while, I was like, okay, I need to speak. Like I had this energy, I needed to speak. So I started practicing with friends and clients that I trusted. And yeah, it started like that. I started doing more psychic reading, psychic healing, and like my own weird sessions, I would say. We work with aliens on physical bodies.
Oh, so there are many topics I want to dive into with you. But first, maybe we can talk a little bit more about trance channeling and what it is from your perspective. Would you share a little bit more about that with us?
Yes, of course. So I teach about channeling and trance channeling in my school of channeling. And so everybody channels continuously. Only we're not aware of what we channel. We can channel a broken inner child. We can channel all of a sudden, like, yes, our oversoul network, and we are so wise, and we have all of this, great ideas and influx of energy. So we are continuously channeling the news or grandma or brother or whatever. But so it is important to learn where the information is coming from, because channeling is like the process of receiving and giving information, and we are doing that continuously, unconsciously. So to me, it's extremely important to know how to do this consciously, because then we can filter information. So when I first started trance channeling, I had a level of consciousness. So we only have a level of consciousness that is going to allow us to understand certain concepts or not. So if we want to receive like really advanced out there information, we need to do the inner work continuously to increase our level of consciousness so we can be a frequency match to receive that information. So when I first started trance channeling, the only concept I had back then was that being was coming inside my body and taking over, and I was basically speaking for that being. And it happened like that for a couple of years. But then as I was, because I train with my team, since trance channeling, I really receive a lot of training since I was trained, and I received so many cosmic surgery and everything like that. And I came to realize that actually the frequency is shifting to be a more powerful frequency. And that frequency is me. It is not another being. It is me. It is my own oversoul network that is switching to a frequency which is Arcturian frequency, because I have a huge field of data within the oversoul network from Arcturus. There's one behind me, like the one that I placed there on the wall. That's an Arcturian. And so I channel the Arcturians, So I always say that, but it's actually my own frequency. So for that, I'm in a trance state. So my conscious mind zooms back, so I can still hear, see, I know what's going on, but it's really far back. And I like it because it means that I can retain some information and I can really be fully present with whatever is arising. So this process is super fascinating because it's like it really shows me how much we can be in the body or like detached from the body. And so when I'm really allowing the Arcturian frequency to flow through me, I can see that I'm really like this other frequency that's inside me, that it's coming from above, and I'm really hot and I can feel the energy. And when I hear myself speak, I'm like, oh my God, this is an information. It's like so amazing. And it is so wise, this is so cool, this is so funny. But then it's not Cendrine, bless my human Cendrine who's doing her best, but I do not have this level of precision and vastness I have if I trance channel. So it's a very interesting dynamic that brings a lot of humility, but that also requires us to really accept our power. Because a lot of people cannot channel because they think that they are not good enough, that they are no one, that they are not, it's complete lack of confidence. So if people don't have confidence, courage, and really curious, playful attitude, channeling is going to be more challenging. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I can also trance channel other beings. I have done so, but it's a no, I don't want to. What's comfortable for me, what I appreciate is trance channeling. When we do sessions, and I mean, I co-create with thousands of beings, but it's always the Arcturian frequency in me in conversation with those beings, or just my oversoul in conversation. Because I do a lot of channeling, which is not trance channeling, if that makes sense at all.
It makes sense. So what comes to mind right now is when did you first get in contact with the Arcturians, especially, or other higher being races or alien races?
Yeah.
When was the first
time? I've been working with them since I was a child, but I did not have the concept. So I did not have the words. Nobody around it was talking to me about that. I was not really asking questions. For me, I just called them my angels. I could see blue lights and purple lights, and they were just around me, and they would come and go, So it was kind of like, when something is not normal, you don't really find it fascinating. Like here, my kids, I live in New Zealand, and New Zealand is breathtakingly beautiful. And I would tell them, look at the sky and look at the mountains. Since after 15 years here, I'm still blown away. And they look like, yeah, it's the sky, it's the mountain. We've been seeing this for 10 years. There's nothing special. And it's a bit like that. It was like, okay, yeah, they are like nothing special. Everybody's got them. But when I started trance channeling, it just happened. I was in a session with a client, and all of a sudden I started feeling like really dizzy. I was sweating, and I started speaking with this weird voice, doing all of these movements, which is like clearing the field, and it's like codes and things like that, grading with the hands and arms. I was like, what's going on? But then I went along with it. And then after that, thank God my client was a regular client. I think this is what that moment was chosen, because it was safe. It was like, what the hell just happened? I was like, I don't know. And I was covered in sweat. So I had to go take a shower after. So intense. And so that changed me forever. That was really the pivot in my precision with the star races, because after that, it all started flowing. Like star races, I also co-create with Syrians. I'm as close with Syrians as I am with Arcturians. It's just that I trance channel mostly Arcturians. I also do trance channel Syrians at times. But I also co-create with so many star races, so I can channel pretty much anything. Yeah.
Was that also the moment when the light language transmission started?
Yes, it was also at the same time. So it's interesting because light language came before, but I was also like, oh, why would I do this? I didn't really feel the power of it. I was speaking, sometimes words were coming out, but it was just more like, oh, that's a cool thing to do. So it was just go. when I started translating the Arcturians, then they started training me and I had a lot more precision. Like basically my psychic abilities and my consciousness expanded very, very fast in a short amount of time. And it still happens, like that massive quantum leaps that happened to me. It's fascinating. But the light language now is very refined and I can really feel, I can translate it, I know what it means, and I can feel the frequency in the body, I can feel what it shifts. And so I do it for myself, but I do it also for my clients and students as necessary.
Wow, that's so amazing.
Yes.
So, do you think that anyone can learn to channel? Like every human has the ability to.
Yes, every human, yes. Because what we do is that in any kind of like free offerings, programs, school, like one-on-one session, anything that you use to come into contact with the work that we share, it is all about empowering you to be a sovereign divine being of the light. So it's really like not creating codependency or anything like that. So we are here to act as, it's like a key. So we work with the quantum field and we love geeking about the quantum. And so what we work is a lot with quantum resonance, which is also called the law of attraction. But quantum resonance means that when you come in contact with us, because I am personally so open psychically and with my channeling and all of the things, that the longer you are in our field, maybe online or in person, the more we get a chance to mirror the abilities that you also have, but it's only dormant. And it's always an exchange like that, because if you spend a lot of time with someone who has a very negative vision of the world, but you are very positive, it's going to rub on you. We all know that. It's like, oh my God, I cannot stand to be with this person for another day. I'm going to kill myself. This person is so horrible. And so it happens like that, you know, in all ways. So what we do is always like sovereignty, power, courage, and it's like we poke people with love. So there is no cuddlings of feelings. This is what I love about the Arcturians, and also my personally, my soul, the way we work is like, we're never going to be like, oh, poor you, I know life is so hard. It's like, for goodness sake, you know, you're way more powerful than anything small. So stop being like, you know, like whining for all the misery that's happening to you in the world. You were not born to do that. You will not be on planet Earth if you are not courageous. Only the most courageous souls in the freaking multiverse are on planet Earth now, because this is the most intense place to be, the ascension process. So when people think that they are not good enough, that they are weak, that they are sort of a victim, like we take, it's literally like a quantum whip. I say, stop this. Stop this. This is completely untrue. There's nothing about that is true. And we repeat continuously the truth of people's divinity. And they learn how to integrate that, to absorb that, because someone who is really fully anchored into their own sovereignty, into their own power, into their own mission, who co-creates with their mission, with their guides, it's going to be someone that is extremely powerful. But power is both masculine and feminine. It has nothing to do with the outdated template. So someone really powerful can be also extremely feminine and very kind and very gentle. But basically, when a sacred no is given, we feel that sacred no. Like, do you think like the goddesses of the ancient, you know, civilizations, they were just like, oh, you know, like, oh, like I'm such a flowy victim? No, it's like, you know, they also had the sacred no, very strong boundaries. They knew their worth, and they asked the world, and they treated themselves as well accordingly, you know. So the way we treat ourselves is the way other people are going to treat ourselves. So it's really kind of these empowering teachings that flow through my channel with the high council that I work. Is very playful, a lot of sense of humor, like galactic whip. Come on, human, you can do this. You know, like you're doing great. We're here to help.
Amazing. I love your attitude and your fire. This, I don't know. I saw you the first time on your free course or workshop, The Courage to Lead, and I was like, oh my God. She has that
I love
fire. And your
Yeah.
humor is also amazing. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, it's really come from working with the dragons, you know, like dragons are very, very present. There's a lot of dragon energy. We are starting dragon year very soon in Chinese year, so that energy is very present, and we all have this fire inside of us. And what are gonna do? What are we gonna do with it? You know, we're going to try to kill it, and then it burns ourselves down, make us sick, unhappy, depleted of energy. Are we going to look at it and allow it to work the way it needs to work so we can create new realities?
Wow. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the dragons, if it's okay for you.
Of course,
Um,
yes.
okay. When did the dragons show up, or when did you connect to them? Was it a conscious connection, or were they like, hey, we're here? You also have something to say.
I'm not quite sure when it started, to be honest. Maybe conscious connection, like telepathic connection, feeling them around me, feeling their energy. I would say it's probably been over 15 years. I remember feeling them when I was younger, but I did not really kind of like quite intense. So I would just ask that energy, whatever that was, to go away. But really consciously co-creating with them, yes, it's not been such a long time to this extent. It's been a couple of years, but it's really life changing. And now I share about the Dragon Warrior Codex, which is very unique. Like nobody shares about that, and it's interesting because at the moment it's only flowing through me. So we'll see because if other people talk about it, but we have a lot of very precise information because it's a unique lineage. And this lineage is coming back to life, and we have hundreds and thousands of people on this planet that are of the lineage of dragon warrior. So it means that it's a specific sequence inside their genome, and this sequence is dormant. And when the sequence come to life, the human pretty much got to get the shit started and ready to go, because it's like there's nothing that's stopping the dragon from being a dragon warrior. And it's often it would be old souls that have lived in many wars, traumatic situations, that have been on planet Earth for a long time, and they are guiding lights. So some have been on planet Earth for longer than others, but it's like we all have these big wounds and traumas, you know, but it's like badges of honors. They're not bleeding any longer. We sort them out, but we know how to handle ourselves in time of crisis, and we know that we are the piercing light of justice. So it's higher divine justice, because the dragon is the highest sovereign being we can find, because they retain the expression of the unique soul blueprint. Like they don't merge with the collective. For example, like the Arcturians, they merge as a collective, so they become one consciousness, and that they eventually will evolve as one being. But the dragons, no. Dragons, they keep their unique soul blueprints, they kind of like unique expressions. So when they create realities, or when they go, they can have this this sovereign power to share with the life that they help regulate. So it's very exciting, because the dragon warriors are coming, like basically the volume is being turned down right now, and so a lot of people are feeling it. It's like this edgy feeling. It's like there's something I must do. I must be doing more than this. Like I don't know what this energy is. That's the energy. And you need to amplify your leadership, your courage, basically open your wings and serve more. Do it now, because there's no more waiting. No, everybody that has been procrastinating, or maybe one day I will start my, it's now that is needed. Don't wait any longer.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so true. Yeah, I can feel that too. Wow. So, you have a program that's starting, or did it already start, the Dragon Warrior Codex? Maybe it's
Yeah.
interesting for some souls, if they feel like joining you on your journey, to talk a little bit about your upcoming program.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, of course. Yes, it starts on the 1st of February. It's a 6 weeks program. So we have 1 hour transmission per week, and it is about receiving the different codes. So it's like 4 pillars of the dragon warriors. and we go with the Arcturians, dragons, and other beings of the light in co-creation with your soul and with your team. We go in your field and we reactivate the crystalline divine genome of the sequence of the Dragon Warrior Codex. And so as this is being brought back to life, we also share the codes, so you know how to embody that and integrate that in your everyday life. You also understand more who the dragon warriors are and why you are one, because everyone that's signing up is dragon warrior. Like they have that codex within themselves. So it's understanding more what is this unique blueprint, knowing that we are more. We are not just a witch, we are not just a star seed, we are not just a dragon, we are more than one thing. So it's like how to learn to co-create with these different aspects of multidimensionality as a dragon warrior, and what comes, to play in the field as we embody more of that. So it's very exciting. It's going to be wonderful, very powerful. And this is for light workers. So all light workers are feeling a need to solve more, have more abundance, more freedom, a bigger tribe, and often they don't know how to do that. A lot of people do healing. Why am I afraid to be seen and heard? I was killed as a witch for my gift in a past life, and all of these things. When you would join Dragon Warrior Codex, you will never ever have to worry about these things ever again. Because once you understand how to work with the Dragon Warrior energy that you are, all of these things will be like, yeah, blah, let's move on. And then it's like the piercing force of God itself that says, come on, yes, you've suffered, but you're way more powerful than this. Let's not stay there. And that's the alchemy. And so we take all our wounds and scars and traumas that prevent us from really stepping into what we're here to be doing and embodying, and we take that and we say like, this is my life, this is my honor, this is like, I carry this wound with pride because I'm a freaking warrior. So it shows that I have lived, and we keep accessing higher level of frequency and high level of frequency. So as we co-create with very high frequency, we feel more protected, we feel more connected to the bigger vision as well, which is going into the golden age. Because a lot of people, a lot of light workers are oscillating massively in the 4D bridge, and a lot of them, they're like swollen in 3D fears of like, oh my god, like AI and diseases and the 5G and things like that. It's like when you join the dragon, none of that is actually a limitation. Like nothing is a limitation. You're freaking dragon. So all of that is like the dragon warrior are here to create a tidal wave that is going to literally swollen all of the dark forces or dated ages, and it's like poof, it's gone. So the transition, so that the 4D bridge doesn't stay open for like decades, which is some of the predictions that have been given. No. We want the transition to be as short and smooth as possible. And for that, it only happens if all of us rise up to do what we came here to be doing. So it's like really creating this feeling also of working as a collective, which is so important because many light workers feel very isolated. Nobody understands me. I'm all alone. It's like, no, we are all here now. let's create this together, So like, the community is growing, and I would love to invite people who resonate with dragon, resonate with service, resonate with anchoring the new art, the new golden age, expanding leadership to join, because it's really revolutionary. It's deeply life-changing. I already facilitated this a journey before, and the results are amazing. Like the students are really mind-blown because it affects all areas of life. It brings life everywhere. It's like an influx of life force and creation. So it's very good.
Wow. That sounds amazing. I will put all the links in the description box below so people can join you on this journey. So everyone who feels called to do this, let's be dragon warriors.
Yes.
Ah, cool. So when you talk about a golden age, I think a lot of souls who are listening to this have already heard about a golden age coming, but would you like to share some of your insights or your perspectives on what's to come, or what we will create?
Yes, My pleasure. I like we love to talk about this because it's why we're here. We're here to anchor the golden age alongside, of course, other spiritual leaders. And the big difference between now and past golden age civilization is that with Atlantis, Lemuria, Shambhala, and other civilization that we know about, it's like they were just one location on the planet. And I was in most of them, like many of us, we lived in them. So we know when we can reaccess memories, when we can work with our multidimensionality, when we can channel these aspects of ourselves. Basically, it's very easy because then we can draw, we can remember who we were, what we were doing, how life was organized, how we would do like healthcare, education. So it's like more like practical. So when you refine your channeling, this is why it's so important, because you can really see with precision, receive some like recipes of success for a golden age if you want. So this is what we're doing a lot with my students in my school of channeling. And here the difference is that the golden age is for the entire humanity. So there will be pools of, or not so much pools, but like, yes, places in the world where societies are already functioning from fifth dimensional frequency, and it has already happened. We already have them around. And the system, financial, educational, healthcare system, all of that, of course, will be completely dismantled and, created with humans at the center point and not profit. But it's basically like, it's going to take some time for certain location to shift into that frequency. But there is now happening, and this is a really pivotal moment because now the timelines are really distancing one another. So the ones that say yes to ascension, to evolution, are going to go in one direction, and the other one, they're going to go into a direction. And if you are really choosing love as your guiding force, you will be there. And that's all there is. A lot of people get stressed out about themselves and their family. But what if they're non-spiritual? It's got nothing to do with spirituality. Mm-hmm. Literally, the ascension process has nothing to do with spirituality. It has everything to do with giving the freedom to the souls present on planet Earth to choose to evolve through love and life, or to choose to evolve through duality and separation. And one is not necessarily better than the other. It is just pathways of evolution. So there will be the people that choose to stay in the pathways of separation. And these are the people that choose to use their energy, their mind, their money to create pain for others. If you think about it, a lot of our family members, our community, our friends, they are not spiritual, but they're really good humans. Everything they do is to make sure their family and friends are okay. And so this comes from an intention that is a loving intention. It's only the process of doing that might not be really highly conscious or harmonious, because a lot of people still think that if I need to protect my family, it means inflicting pain on others, but it's not the case. So that's more of the education, the process of healing that happens around that. So a lot of people are actually choosing ascension, even if they are no idea, because they want more love, they want more abundance for everyone. They don't like wars, they don't like anything like that. They don't know what to do with it. They think it's never going to change, but actually the timeline that me and my high council are here to anchor is always a timeline of golden age for humanity, with a tidal wave that it literally shifts humanity. And so now we are in it. It is happening. And I always say to my students and everybody who listens to what I share, is like, if you're in my vortex and if you listen and if you hear what I share, it means that you're on this timeline. Otherwise, you will not be receiving this. So it means that you're also here co-creating the golden age. So what can you do, in your own life? Because all of us are here to do something. Some people, it is to lead like thousands or millions of others. For some people, it is to lead themselves and their family and their smaller community and their friends, because they're going to be like, as we say, the first responders, like nurses and firefighter and policemen, like the first responders. It's like literally we have so many light workers present at the moment that are stressed out about the ascension process, what's really happening, how can I make sure that everyone is fine. Activate Dragon Warrior if you want to join my program, but mostly realize that just by doing you, by choosing love, by being kind, and really looking, ahead through the timeline, to the timeline of the golden age. So basically, you share this message, you rejoice, because now we have a lot of opportunities to feel sad and terrified about what's happening in the world. But therefore, we keep on feeding that energy. We can also extract ourselves from that, continue living joyfully, which is the most rebellious act one can do, is to, no matter the amount of pain that's happening outside, we still to choose joy. And we can see that because a lot of people and children that are experiencing absolutely horrendous traumas in the world at the moment and for all times, because that's unfortunately what happened, we can see sometimes that we can see them smile at times, we can hear them laugh, and it's for a moment there is joy. And so it's always teachings. So we go in many different directions. The last thing I want to say, what is coming here, is that they say that we always have the opportunity to feel through the heart portal. So it's always, the teachings is always around the heart portal. So the heart is big enough to feel really scared about the future, but the heart is also able to express joy, to hold joy. So we can feel scared, but we can also feel hopeful. We sometimes can know really well and feel really confident, and the next moment we can feel afraid. It's not that we are right or wrong, or aligned or not aligned. It is that we are multidimensional beings, multifaceted. It is that we don't know what we are channeling. So we might be channeling some really low vibe information without knowing, because simply we walk down the supermarket next to a person that had just had a tragic thing happening. No words are exchanged. The information through the quantum field is exchanged. And next thing we know, we don't know why, but in the car we feel like very like hopeless for humanity. We think our mom might die of cancer, and it's actually like coming out of nowhere. No, it is never ever coming out of nowhere. It's always coming from a field of information. So be very clear about what field of information you tap into consciously. So you only tap into the field of information that makes you happy and that makes you joyful. Best advice ever, that I'm sure you know, Daddy, I'm sure that the audience know as well. The news is not a good thing. I know, like, let's stop watching the news. I haven't watched the news for 15 years. It is not necessary.
Me too. Thank you so much for sharing this. I really needed to hear that. Yeah, I thought a lot about what being spiritual has to do with the ascension process, and yeah, you just want your family to go with you, to jump
Of
with
course.
you. Yeah.
Of course. And it has been such a challenge for me as well, because for me, my dynamic is that I trust, well, of course, my kids, they're coming. But then
Yeah.
they have the dad and stepmom and little brother and all the extended family. And I'm like, well, if it's like my kids are coming, but by extension, these people also need to come, these people also need to come, and this become a mental process that creates stress and anxiety. So what I do is I breathe into that and I just pray. The power of prayer is the most healing frequency, because we just pray and then we feel this wave of warmth, this love, this reassurance. Sometimes we cry. It's like tears of relief or tears of sadness or tears of anxiety. But the water is purifying. Ascension happened far through the water. So the first element that ascended was the water, and now all the other elements are catching up. So every time we have purged through water, a good cry, it's like really the divine frequency of purification and of love. It's like, it's so delicious. The water is so healing. So every time we really stress, I really encourage people to cry and to let it out. And sometimes I say, look, I had it was interesting because I had a one-on-one session recently and they were so punchy. Thank God the person could take it. It was like, oh yes, and then what? The world dies, everybody becomes a zombie, and then the bad aliens come, and we're like, and then so what? And then what? It's just like, what? It's like it's gonna be the end and that's it. And then another algorithm is gonna start. So it's like there's like literally nothing that you can do. Even if it's happening, then it's happening. So it's like it's not gonna happen. They try in so many ways to release the pressure, because the pressure comes from the unknown, because it's the reptilian brain scared of the unknown, because it's dangerous. When we pray, we activate faith, and faith is really a higher frequency than trust, because trust requires us to have a mental construct from the past that says, I can trust this because it has happened before, or it has happened for other people. But when it comes to the ascension process and the golden age, it's like we have literally no one talking about it and saying it's going to happen. This is what is happening, how it is happening, what you can expect. So of course people are worried. This is why so many of us that have lived in ancient civilizations, in golden age civilization, on planet Earth or in other star systems, are reawakening, are activating their psychic abilities, because they need to say, oh, like, this is how we transition. So I work a lot with the Syrian Star Nation, because the Syrian Star Nation went through something very similar in terms of ascension process. They also experienced a lot of darkness, even worse than planet Earth, and they had to transition. It was extremely intense and painful, but they made it because they are one of the most powerful civilizations in the universe right now. So go Syrians! Yeah, they're really they're helping us a lot
Wow.
in growing our backbone. They say it's like, come on, like, you are not a weak human, you are powerful human.
We are.
Yes, we are.
So we have a lot of help, like from the star races, and we have also a lot of activations in ourselves. And when we open up and we just open our hearts, we get the guidance and the support we need to cope with everything, or handle everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel so relieved.
Yes, it's great, because it's always, so many of us, we feel lonely, we feel
Mhm.
separated from the divine, we feel like we don't fit, like it's like feel also very scared. And we we start, with the awakening journey, and we think, oh, I know these things are going to get better, but it actually gets worse. So I talk a lot about that on my podcast and my YouTube channel. I talk a lot about the awakening process and trauma awakening and all the things that it's actually, life becomes more challenging after we awaken. And it's not, we don't have one awakening, we have many. It's like it's like one after the other, and it can really, it actually does affect our nervous system, and so we become really anxious and stressed, and it can create like the other effect of, instead of saying like, oh yes, I am free, I'm sovereign, I'm powerful, it's like, oh, there's so much craziness in this world, everything is so complicated. It was way easier when I had no clue. So it's like so I mean, like, I work a lot with people. I talk a lot to people to bring you reassurance and courage, because I really feel it. Like, I'm also human, and I have these things coming to me too. It's not that I'm in a position where I have zero tolerance for low frequency. May it be information, doomsday scenario, or other spiritual teachers, spiritual mentors that come, and the information that they share is just scary, information that creates even more separation. So I just want to encourage all our listeners to really have this very strong compass when receiving from others, because a lot of mediums, psychic channel, they mean really well, but all that they talk about is how dangerous things are, the deep state, and it's like, really question that when you receive an information, are you feeling more powerful, happier, more hopeful? You feel more grounded in yourself, more confident? Like, are you more in you, like more a powerful sovereign being? Or do you feel that on the opposite, you just want to run away, in a cave with like doomsday kits in your backpack to live, as a monk, or fight away from 5G towers? Because it's like, just choose what makes you happy. And it's not being stupid, like literally all the conspiracy theories, all of this like dark Pandora box. I do not say that, you know, things are not real or not real. I say like, would you even bother to go down there if it's not your mission, if it's not your purpose, if you're not meant to be doing that? You know, some people are coded, some people need to be there, but most of us don't.
Oh, wow. I needed to hear this. Thank you very much. I hope this is helping a lot of souls that are listening to this.
Yes, I hope so, because we deplete, there's a huge depletion of energy and of sovereignty that goes into spending our time worrying about what's going on, really, and
Yes.
where we're going to go. So it's like really live in the now, you know, like really the true spiritual masters, you know, that are revered across cultures and religion, that are respected. It's always the same. It's not complicated. Live in the present moment. Live from the heart. Be kind, you know, like stay positive. It's like, come on, guys. We've been receiving the same teachings thousands of years, and it's brought through different, you know, words and philosophies, but it's pretty much that, you know, live in the now, stay detached, be happy, be kind, help others.
I resonate deeply with everything you said and shared.
Oh, I love this.
Thank you. Thank you so, so much.
You're
Oh,
welcome. It's a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Of
Um,
course.
I still have questions. I have endless questions, but I know that you have a schedule and you have other things to do. But maybe one or two less questions to ask if you still have a little bit more time. Okay. You created the Golden Age spiritual ministry on another realm or in another dimension. I've been hearing a lot of people talking about creating things in the ethereal realms, like building things or creating schools, like you did. Would you share a little bit, yeah, about the ministry with us and how one can create something like that?
Course, I love this. It's a very good question because, yes, it's really here we're tapping into the infinite quantum field. And so I would love to invite you to perceive that there is no difference between imagination. It's like imagination creating out of the mind and actually building realities, because it's just working with different energetic wave. So when we create in the quantum, we can all visualize. So basically, it's very much like a guided visualization in a way. You're walking on this street, like, or you walk in this building, or it's like a tree or whatever. So when we're in the quantum, we can feel that. But what I personally love is like the co-creation process. So I don't go in the quantum visualizing myself, building these things and things. It's like I feel a frequency coming to me, and that frequency wants to co-create with me. And the Golden Age Spiritual Ministry was nothing like a frequency that I had co-created with before, because it was way faster, way broader. So it's taken me years to really understand that frequency. And it's really a temple of light. And it's a temple of light, which is what we would imagine in ancient Greece, for example. Gigantic temple and a lot of like philosopher and wise people and priestesses and priests. And you like all of these like star races, these dragons, there's so many totem animals, there's just so many different beings of the light working there. And we have all of these different rooms. And so like, for example, Dragon Warrior Codex has its own specific room. Area School of Channeling, my past programs also have room. And I am there in these structures, and I see the seats, I see myself speaking, I see specific beings depending on the frequency. We have more like big public rooms, so we welcome people for like a one-off thing. So sometimes I talk a lot about it, sometimes I don't talk about it, but it's pretty much the architecture, like the grid, which is a quantum structure where all our teachings flow from. So the structure resides into the seventh plane. So it's like really, really high frequency. And the frequency is sharing its formation through different pillars, different levels with humanity. And I have created a non-for-profit, which is Golden Age Spiritual Ministry. So now it's like it's anchored into reality. It's going to be 2 years in April, so I'm really happy. I'm quite proud about that because it was quite a process to go through. A lot of energetic shift happened, but it's really exciting. So one day, yes, the Golden Age Spiritual Ministry would love to have some physical structure that is not going to come for we perceive many years to go, because we need to do a lot of things beforehand. But this is my highest desire, is to have this physical structure around the globe, of course. Yes.
Wow. So inspiring. Wow. No, I have to process this.
Yes.
So but I can see you there. Like, I can see this. I hope we're all co-creating this. Everyone is listening to it. Maybe this could be the last question. Or what would you tell people who are, or souls who are just opening up to the idea of being multidimensional? Because I don't know, the opinions are very split in these areas. Like, there are people who just think that they're their bodies, and there are people who operate on levels like you operate, and somewhere in between I think I am. So what would you suggest or tell people that are just opening up to
I love this. Yes. I don't work with people who are not interested in knowing anything else. So I work more with people who are already kind of interested in knowing more. But it's the proof that we are multidimensional is that we are multifaceted as well. Like, as human beings, we are so multifaceted. Sometimes we can be a big introvert, but every now and then we would be this massive extrovert. Sometimes we just, it's like we continuously need new things to learn, creativity, like there's like, we are multifaceted to start with, and all of that comes from somewhere. For me, it's always been so obvious that we are multidimensional since I was very little. It was, you can see some children, they just are amazing at art. Other children, they speak like language. It's like, it's so obvious. When we look at kids, it's like, where does the personality come from? It doesn't come from parents. If you're a parent, you know very well that your kid's personality comes from somewhere else. Yeah. So it's like all of these things that happen. Also, it's if people have seen the movie Matrix, which most people have seen, when Neo walks up the stairs and Francis Crew walks up the stairs, he looks at the cat and there is a glitch. The glitch cat. This happens all the time. It's a deja vu. That's a glitch in the Matrix. Literally, the movie says it, and it's literally what I'm sharing here as well. It is a glitch in the Matrix. These are parallel lives merging together. So when we understand that, we are so much more aware. I have had quantum leaps that are so crazy that when I go through a specific location, I would go through every single day, things have physically changed because I merge with the reality, and in this new reality, do things no longer exist. And it's a crazy mind thing. But also, people who go through a lot of awakening, big transformation, they also know. So, like, look to you a year ago, look who you were 5 years ago. We change so fast now. It is obvious, it's undeniable that we are multidimensional. I don't even know how it's possible to think we're not, to be honest. Yes, and it's also like the merging of the science and spirituality, when you can just heal pretty much everything just through vibrations and frequencies, which is what we're heading towards. So yeah, we are definitely multidimensional. Yes.
We are.
Yes.
And there's always ways to access our multidimensionality, and mentors like you and other great people and souls will help them.
I offer a lot for free because I know that what we share can be a lot. It's very geeky. It's like we we use a lot of words and ways of speaking that are not common, but we share a lot for free, you know, like on all my socials, YouTube, podcast. So just people can, you know, can join, you get educated as you receive, definitely.
Yeah, I love what you share. I love your newsletters, and I love every email and all the information that you share. I
Thank you so
resonate
much.
very deeply with everything. And I will link all of your channels in the description box below. But yeah, is there something else coming up maybe that would be interesting for souls to know besides the Dragon Warrior Codex? And where can people find you? And I will link everything. Maybe that's the important piece.
Yeah, that's great. Yes. So with this year, there are many exciting things that are happening, and we're preparing for that. People will have the ability to train with me for really reduced price. We're creating a membership, and there will be different levels of accessing, but basically people will have access to a lot of online courses and digital products on star races, ancient civilizations, multidimensionality, emotional alchemy, past lives, all of these things. And so you receive all of that. You can go in on your own rhythm, but at the same time, as it's part of a membership, you can receive coaching from me. With certain, depending on the level, there will also be some psychic readings included every now and then. So there will be things like that are really exciting to bring the community together. Also platforms where we can connect, so you get to meet, you know, other students on a similar journey. And I'm going to do a lot for free this year on different channels, as well as free events, free master classes, because there is a lot to be shared. This year is a big year energetically. And me, myself, like in my own channel, I want to be really present. It makes me very happy. Yes.
Wow. So you already have a lot of information received from your council and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Big year of expansion. It's all about, you know, like aligning to our power and shifting with joy as well. It's not all about hard work. It is also and mostly about how to relax and be happy while things are actually happening. So it's not always go, 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 frying the nervous system down. It's also a lot of self-love, embodiment practices to relax and be happy with life.
Wow. Yeah, that's what that's about. Enjoying every step. Oh, I love that. Cendrine. Oh,
Thank you so much.
thank
It's
you
such a
so
pleasure
much.
to talk to you.
Sorry, I did not want to interrupt
It's
you.
been such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for
Me
having me.
too. You're a true inspiration for me. I don't know. I just have this, you know it when you feel it, you know, when you're
Yeah.
like deeply resonating with someone and you're like, oh my God, I have to meet this person. And you're a person that I really look up to. And yeah, I've learned a lot from you, and I'm still learning a lot from you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to everything you share with the world and with the souls. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Janine. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening. It's a great pleasure to connect with you.
Oh my, thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
soon, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. Thank you.